மெட்ரோப்ளெக்ஸ் தமிழ் சங்கம் நேயர்களுக்கு அமிர்தனின் இனிய தமிழ் வணக்கங்கள். பொதுவாக பெண்களாய் பிறப்பதற்கே மாதவம் செய்திருக்க வேண்டும் அப்படின்னு சொல்லுவாங்க. பெண்களாய் பிறப்பதற்குன்னு அப்போ அதுக்கப்புறம் படிக்கிறதுக்கு, அதுக்கப்புறம் வேலை வாய்ப்புக்கு, அவங்களோட விடுதலைக்கு, அவங்களோட சுயமரியாதைக்கு கேட்கறதுக்கு தலை சுத்ததில்ல. ஆனால் இத்தனைகளும் மீறி நம்ம ஊர் பெண்கள் நிறைய படித்து சமுதாயத்தில் சுயமரியாதையோட ஒழுக்கத்தோட தான் மட்டும் மேலே வராமல் அடுத்த தலைமுறையும் மேலே கூட்டிகிட்டு வந்திருக்காங்க. அந்த மாதிரி பல்வேறு துறைகளில் நம்ம பல பிரபலங்களை பார்த்துருக்கோம். ஆனால் இன்னைக்கு நம்ம பார்க்க போகிறவங்க சிறப்பானவங்க. கணினி துறையில் கிட்டத்தட்ட 20லேருந்து 25 ஆண்டுகள் கால் பதித்து இன்னைக்கும் வெற்றி கொடி கட்டி கொண்டிருக்காங்க. அவங்க சைபர் செக்யூரிட்டி, ரிஸ்க், ESG, கவர்னன்ஸ் அண்ட் வாட் நாட். ஷி ஹஸ் டாப்ட் ஆல் த சார்ட்ஸ். அவங்கள தான் இன்னைக்கு நம்ம நேர்காணல் காண போகிறோம். மெட்ரோப்ளெக்ஸ் தமிழ் சங்கம் நடத்தும் டாலஸின் பிரபலங்கள் நிகழ்ச்சியில் உங்களை நேர்காணல் காண்றது ரொம்ப சந்தோஷம். வணக்கம் சாயலட்சுமி சந்தானகிருஷ்ணன்.
வணக்கங்க. தேங்க்ஸ் ஃபார் தி ஆப்பர்ச்சுனிட்டி அண்ட் இட்ஸ் a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. பொதுவாக படித்து பேர் வாங்குவோம் அப்படின்னு சொல்லுவாங்க. ஆனால் உங்கள் பேரே வந்து அடிஷனல் ஷீட் வாங்குற மாதிரி இருக்கு. நம்ம நேர்காணல் அங்கிலேருந்தே தொடங்கலாம் அப்படின்னு பார்க்குறேன் நான். சாயலட்சுமி சந்தானகிருஷ்ணன், உங்களோட பால்ய கதைகள் இல்லைன்னா உங்கள் பேர்லேருந்து கொஞ்சம் சொல்லுங்களேன் நேயர்களுக்கு.
என்னோட பேர் சாய் லக்ஷ்மி சந்தானகிருஷ்ணன் is a combination of Lakshmi and Sai. ரெண்டுமே it comes from a very spiritual background. Lakshmi வந்து because I'm the first daughter in the family after a long time, so it's a blessing. So I think அந்த இதை வச்சு லக்ஷ்மின்னு கூப்பிட்டாங்க வீட்டில். Sai is because my ancestors were Sai devotees, both Satya Sai and Shirdi Baba. So I think that was added as a blessing because Sai generally means divine. So what more can you ask for? And then I have Krishnan, and Santana Krishnan is my appa's name. So it's just a blessing to have all the grace of all lords.
கண்டிப்பா. அதனால தான் எனக்கு தெரிஞ்சு பல்வேறு துறைகளில் நீங்கள் வந்து இன்னைக்கும் வெற்றி கொடி கட்டியிருக்கீங்கன்னு நினைக்கிறேன்.
கண்டிப்பாங்க. பெரியவங்க blessings, அவங்களோட தாட்ஸ் அண்ட் அவங்களா இருக்கிறதுனால தான் நாங்களாம் இவ்வளோ வந்திருக்கோம். கண்டிப்பா.
உங்களோட ப்ரொஃபைல் போய் பார்த்தேன். இந்த MBBS, FRCS மாதிரி ஐடியில் பல்வேறு சர்டிஃபிகேஷன்ஸ், பல்வேறு இம்ப்ரூவ்மெண்ட்ஸ், பல்வேறு தொண்டு நிறுவனங்கள் கூட தொடர்பு, இவ்வளோத்தையும் பார்க்குறேன். எப்படி உங்களுக்கு இந்த மாதிரி டைம் இருக்கு? எங்கேருந்து இவ்வளோ சர்டிஃபிகேஷன்ஸ்லாம் பண்ணுறீங்க? அது மட்டும் நேயர்களுக்கு சொல்லுங்களேன்.
I think it is one is time management is what I really believe in. எல்லாருக்கும் 24 hours இருக்கு. நம்ம அதை எப்படி யூஸ் பண்றோம், என்ன ஃபோக்கஸ் பண்றோம் is very important. So I think எனக்கு வந்து I'm able to kind of look into that from a prioritization perspective. ஒரு சமயத்துல என்ன வேணும், எப்படி நம்ம அதை how can we achieve it. So அதை ஃபோக்கஸ் பண்ணி when I work towards it, I think it is easy. But it's also that I have a huge community behind me who has enabled me. So அவங்களா இல்லாமல் நான் வந்து இன்னைக்கு நான் இந்த நிலைமைக்கு வந்திருக்க முடியாது. Starting with என்னோட அப்பா அம்மா, my grandparents, they've all been role models in many ways, in very simple ways. And then of course my spouse, my children, both my daughters are my biggest supporters, and they're also my biggest critics. So they kind of enable me to kind of be there. Adilama, you need peers. You need peers. There are many women who have been behind me, there have been men who have acted as allies for me. So I think that is what helps me to kind of keep going. And also the circle comes around Ilya. So yaro enak pannirkanga அடுத்தது நம்ம டைம் வேற ஒருத்தவங்களுக்கு பண்ணணும். So I think that is another motivation for me.
அருமையா சொன்னீங்க சாய். ஆக்சுவலி இந்த கணினி துறை அப்படின்னாலே பொதுவாக 8 மணி நேரம் நம்ம சேர்லேயே உட்காந்துட்டு இருக்கணும், ரொம்ப யோசிச்சுக்கிட்டே இருக்கணும், நம்மளை சுற்றி ப்ரெஷர் இருக்கும் அப்படின்லாம் நம்ம கேள்விப்படுறோம். இந்த மென்டல் ஹெல்த் அப்படின்ற ஒரு விஷயம் வரும்பொழுது அது எவ்வளவு முக்கியம், அதை எப்படி பேணி காப்பாற்றுறது நம்ம மென்டல் ஹெல்த் அப்படின்ற ஒரு விஷயத்தை?
I think mental health is equivalent to physical health. I think what people don't understand is your emotional health, your mental health and physical health all go hand in hand. அதுக்கு வந்து நம்ம தனியா இது வரைக்கும் நம்ம ஸ்பெசிஃபிக்கா அதை பற்றி பேசினது இல்லைன்னு வந்து there is many reasons to it. நம்ம வீட்டில் ஊர்ல எல்லாம் இருக்கும்போது they say you have a village to raise a child. So we have that community, but நம்ம over the years and the community has broken down. So அந்த இது வந்து போனதுனால we don't have that opportunity to have that inbuilt system with us. Like நம்ம வீட்ல இருந்து வந்தா யாராவது ரோட்ல யாராவது கேட்பாங்க, அம்மா எப்படி இருந்தது, ஒர்க் எப்படி இருந்தது, ஒரு நாள் எப்படி இருந்ததுன்ட்டு. இப்போ we become ரொம்ப ரொம்ப ஐசோலேட்டட் ஆயிட்டோம். ஸோ அதனால இப்போ நம்மளா அதை உணர்ந்து அது இது நம்ம இதை பத்தி பேசணும், ஒருத்தவங்கள்ட்ட கேட்கணும், ஒருத்தவங்க டல்லா இருந்தா ஏன் கேட்கணும், இட்ஸ் நாட் ஜஸ்ட் மை பிஸ்னஸ் அந்த பக்கம் பார்க்காம போறதுக்கு. வெதர் இட் குட் பி யோர் பியர், இட் குட் பி யோர் சைல்ட், இட் குட் பி ஈவன் ஃப்ரெண்ட்ஸ், சரியா, இட் குட் பி போத் மென் அண்ட் விமன், கரெக்ட். அது நம்ம அப்சர்வ் பண்ணி ஒரு அவேர்னஸோட பார்த்து அதை பத்தி பேசி அதுக்காக நம்ம என்ன செய்யலாம் அப்படின்ட்டு கத்துக்கணும். Because எனக்கு I think it was a learning. As I said, certain things came because I had a good system. So, I still continue to have that system. But the point is, when you don't have that system and then you see that, I think it takes a lot of grooming for it. So awareness is the first thing. Education is the next one. And இப்போ because I work with a lot of next gen in many capacities. I teach as a volunteer. I am a mentor from a women in tech perspective. I am a faculty at local universities. I'm built with a lot of global forums, and I'm a co-founder of one of the organizations called We Inspire, where we actually take the next gen. And I've led Leanance, I've created Leanance. If உங்களுக்கு தெரிஞ்சா, like the ex CEO of CFO of Facebook, she was responsible for creating a community called Lean Circles, which is very important for women as such. So I've run those forums. I've been part of employee resource groups at when I was in leadership roles to enable it. So all of that education has helped me to become more aware of this need in the society. And I think number community, especially because it is a very big taboo. My main request to everybody is don't make it a taboo. Help people to come out of it. You don't want to have a sick society. We have to enable each other. Competition is good when it's healthy, but if you kind of put somebody down and then you're coming up, I don't think you'll feel good about it. And this is at every level, from children to women to men, especially, because I think we take it for granted. Number culture the men we take they're the stronger ones, but women also go through it equally as men do. So I think looking at both sides is very important. Teenagers today are going through a lot, especially if you're the first generation, you're torn between two cultures. So I think it is very important to kind of look at it and what can you do for it from realizing it. I think that is very important.
கண்டிப்பா.
Yeah.
நீங்க கரெக்டா அந்த நான் கேட்க வந்த கேள்விக்கான விடையே நீங்க தொட்டுட்டீங்க. ஆக்சுவலி இப்போ ஒரு மென்டல் ஹெல்த் இருக்கும்பொழுது அதை எப்படி பேலன்ஸ் பண்றது? வாட் பிராக்டிசஸ் ஆர் ஹேபிட்ஸ் ஹெல்ப் யூ மெயின்டைன் த பேலன்ஸ் டு அவாய்ட் பர்ன் அவுட்?
I think one of the biggest things that I have seen is the ability to say no. I think we are constantly running behind goals, and you are who you are. I don't think you can be somebody else. You're unique, you're different. You are special in your own sense. But I think and the maturity varathukku, I think it takes time, and people need to realize that. So if you learn to say no, you don't have to take in everything. You don't have to prove everything. Pasangalta solradhu, when I coach and I work with young adults, I tell them everybody doesn't need to have an AP course. Everybody doesn't have to do an honors program. Correct? Is it really worth that time and effort and the energy that you put into it and costing you, if you can't manage it, why are you taking it? Correct? Everybody has their own path to define for them. You might have something that somebody else has. So don't be somebody else. So I think that is one thing I would definitely say, have that thing. Second, I will say build a network of people. It is not the numbers, but it's the quality of people that you have in your circle. That helps, who will unconditionally be there for you, who can pick you up, who can enjoy a day with you when you are accomplishing something, but at the same time can pick you up when you fall down. I think it is very important to find that kind of people, both professionally as well as in your personal circle. reach out. And it's not உங்களுக்கு வேண்டியப்ப மாத்திரம் நீங்க போகாதீங்க, அவங்களுக்கு வேண்டியப்ப கூட நீங்க இருக்கணும். I think that is what the true inner circle means. And also being very honest with yourself, correct? What is that you're doing right and wrong? Being able to judge that. And maybe you do need help, ask for help. Because you ask for help, it does not show any signs of weakness. I think when you have the guts to ask for help, it actually shows strength. So being there to ask for help is very important. And then knowing people in all aspects of life. Just because you're in tech, that doesn't mean you have to only know people in tech. Go broader. And know people from different aspects. You never know how they can be of help to you at a point in time. Talk to strangers. Correct. One of the things that we do in communication and training the next gen in communication is our ability to talk to strangers. Number culturally, I think India we used to talk, காய்கறக்க அவங்கள்ட்ட பேசுவோம், இல்லை போஸ்ட்மேன்ட்ட பேசுவோம். I think generally I think those techniques, if you go back and look at it, helped us to become better communicators. We had that inbuilt resiliency, தெரியாமையே நம்ம அதை கத்துக்கிட்டோம். இப்போ it has to be very intentional. So I think those are things that you have to do. And then pick up a hobby. I hike. I'm a hiker. So I go out. I love nature. So enna portha varaikum, that is where I get my peace from. I meditate. And the other thing that I do is do gratitude. It's one of the biggest and simplest medicine that anybody who's going through mental health can have is writing gratitude. So write 3 to 5 gratitude every day. ராத்திரி தூங்குறதுக்கு முன்னாடி இல்லைன்னா நீங்கள் காலையில் போகிறதுக்கு எழுந்துச்சு நீங்கள் நன்றி சொல்லிட்டு நீங்கள் உங்கள் டே ஆரம்பிங்க, இல்லைன்னா நன்றி சொல்லிட்டு உங்கள் டே முடிங்க. உங்களுக்கு தெரியும், they may have been 10 things that have gone wrong, but 5 things that could have gone right for you. And that is a beautiful way to kind of end your day or start your day with. And that will definitely refresh your mind.
கண்டிப்பா. கோல்டன் வேர்ட்ஸ். வடிவேலு ஒரு திரைப்படத்தில் சொல்வார், நேற்று 10 அடி கிடச்சிதா, இன்னைக்கு 8 அடி தான், 2 அடி மிச்சம் அப்படின்னு நிம்மதியாக தூங்க போகணுன்னு. அதை நீங்கள் ரொம்ப அழகாக சொல்லியிருக்கீங்க. நன்றி சாயலட்சுமி. ஆனால் நீங்கள் சொன்னீங்கல்ல, இன்னைக்கு நம்ம ஹெல்ப் எடுத்துக்கணும், சமுதாயத்தில் மற்றவர்கள்கிட்ட பேசணும், பகிர்ந்துக்கணும் அப்படின்ட்டு. ஆனால் இந்த தொழில்துறை, நம்மளோட டெக் இண்டஸ்ட்ரி, இஸ் தட் ரியலி சப்போர்ட்டிவ் ஃபார் யுவர் மென்டல் வெல்பீயிங்? அவங்க நமக்கு உதவி செய்கிறாங்களா எம்ப்ளாயிஸ்க்கு? எப்படி இருக்கு அந்த டெக் இண்டஸ்ட்ரியோட சமூகம்?
I think kandipa seiranga. I think we have to go find the opportunity for ourselves. Illana ninga create pannunga. Ungala yaro, nobody is stopping you for that, correct? I think we put a lot of pressure on corporate world, in saying that they are the ones that they are doing. Most companies, I think they allow for, employee resource groups to be created, just like, and if you're in colleges, you create clubs. If you're at school, you create clubs, and nobody is stopping you from creating those resources. So I think those resources are completely available. Nammalukku, intentionally நம்ம போய் தேடி பண்ணோம்னா it is there. But can more be done? Definitely. So there is resources. So I think today with all insurances, there is a number of set. Now in the first industry there was nothing in the insurance, if you were to look at it. But in from 3 sessions, they have moved to 10 sessions. So per family, most insurance allows you to kind of seek counseling from 3 to 10 within covered insurance. That's a start. Can it be better? Definitely. The other thing that we have to do is, I think COVID was a good starter for us to talk about mental health. Up when a lot of people at all levels were trained to recognize mental health issues, whether it was managers from CEO to CFOs to executive boards to, your peers. I think having that is good. Your coffee break rooms are great opportunity for you to learn about each other's mental health. To go out, guys go for a puff. It could be any of it, anytime you go for a game, it's there. But it's that small tiny conversations that can help you recognize it. And that is one technique. It doesn't have to be formal all the time. Picking up a phone. Okay, ninga birthday kala edukku text pandringa. Okay, pick up a phone and say, hey, happy birthday, correct? That's a great way for you to have, a conversation. And you may know, on the samayathila, maybe your friend or somebody who needs you is depressed or is having a low key. அந்த ஒரு குரல் நீங்க சொல்றதுனால, நீங்க கூப்பிட்டதுனால, that could change that minute. correct? So I think there are many techniques that we can use, but corporates are doing all of this in different ways. They're kind of doing it in social circles. They're hosting, events for you. Be a part of those events. There are, as I said, there are many ERG clubs that go. They talk about it. Actually, nalik when the October 10th is global mental health day. So if somebody doesn't know, there is a lot of activities that are happening across a lot of corporates, happening in colleges. They're hosting it. But I think what we can do more is to propagate on it. It's not one person's responsibility. இது வந்து நம்ம எல்லாரோட responsibility. Since the community has become so isolated, I think it becomes, it's simple thing. You're walking on a road, you see somebody sad, because you can say, hey man, what's happened? Correct. It's a very simple conversation. You're going for a jog, you're seeing somebody lonely, you're seeing a child, you're in a party, you're seeing a child alone. It could be any of it. You could recognize somebody who's quiet in the room, enable them. So I think you can promote it as long as you don't put down somebody because they are in a bad position or a point in time they are down. I don't think it gives any of us the right to pick on them, and create the taboo on it. So I think when you get away from the taboo, I think it is very essential that you'll find the resource come to you. So there is no dearth of resources, I can tell you that much. How you seek the resources, how you engage the resources, how do you put the resources to use is what it is, because every hospital in the city has a program. And there is programs. There are programs from children to adults, and everybody goes through this low key, anytime. It's not that it's not affecting you or me. It's just that we don't acknowledge it. First of all, that is another thing. And once you acknowledge it, don't make it a taboo because somebody acknowledged it. Make it a conversation for somebody to ask for that help. Finding resources, I'm telling you, it is there. It is across the board. There is resources. You can go to HR. They will help you with it. But I would say, it's just like, because you spoke about tech industry, everybody, or even non-tech industry, everybody today does a cyber training, correct? Everybody does security awareness training. You have to sign up on that. Do something like that. You can be creative, correct? Have a day where you have events, where you just come out and you do things fun with your thing. You will notice that these are things, changes are thing. There is also something called emotional intelligence, which a lot of the corporate leaders are being trained on. As I used to work in Amazon, I'm an ex-Amazonian, I used to work there. So we used to train, our leaders to kind of not only just identify, but how do you communicate with empathy? I think that is another change that we have to bring. You can be in any power. It's only a point in time. All your titles only matter only for a certain point of time. But I think, as people say, people remember you for how you made them feel, not because of your title, correct? When you walked into the room, or when they walked into the room, how did you make them feel? I think that's the takeaway I would leave with.
அழகான வரிகள். எவ்வளவுதான் ஏஐ தொழில்நுட்பங்கள் வந்தாலும், ஒரு மனிதனும் பேசும்பொழுது தான் நம்மளோட மெய்யழகு வெளிப்படுது அப்படின்னு நினைக்கிறேன். அதனால தான் ஒரு அழகியாகவோ, ஒரு மெய்யழகனாவோ அந்த நபர்கள் திகழ்கிறாங்க அப்படின்னு நம்புறேன். அழகான வரிகள். ஆனா, நீங்க சொன்னீங்கல்ல, நம்ம உதவி கேட்கணும், நம்ம பகிர்ந்துக்கணும் அப்படின்னு. இப்போ நம்ம தொழில்நுட்பத்துல, நம்ம தொழில்துறையில நம்ம அந்த மாரி நம்ம தகவல்களையோ, நம்மளோட உணர்வுகளையோ பகிர்ந்து கொள்ளும் பொழுது, என்னைக்காவது இல்ல இவங்க நம்மளோட இது சாரி. நம்ம என்னைக்காவது நம்மளோட உணர்வுகளை பகிர்ந்து கொள்ளும் பொழுது, இது நம்மளோட கப் ஆஃப் டீ இல்ல அப்படின்னு என்னைக்காவது அந்த பிலாங்கிங்னஸ் உங்களுக்கு இல்லாம போயிருக்கா?
I don't think tech is, I've ever felt that I never belonged in tech. I'm, any field for that matter. For instance, I have done tech, but the point is that for me, it is very foundational. The way I look at technology, it's a foundational for anything that works. It's a horizontal that goes against any industry. So I don't think I will ever feel that I'm not a part of tech. But what has happened or what has occurred over the years when the people dictate what you should be in tech, correct? People tell you, hey, most women should take a QA role or they should take a BA role, So there are people dictating that to you. And it's happened even before. Like, if you take up engineering, they will have a field of engineering that you should take. And if you want to go to architecture, oh, you're going to be on the field, you don't have to do architecture, something much more safer, right? So I think that has occurred throughout our lives. As a woman, I have faced that. But I think I'm a rebel. In its sense. So I've always said if somebody told me not to do it, I would always go pick what I wanted to do. So my career, in fact, actually unfolded like that. Now, I've always walked the unusual paths that people took. When people said take medicine, I said no because I was asked to pay capitation. I said no, I'm not going to do it. There was computer science, which was emerging. They said, okay, there is seat. I said, okay, let's go for it. So I've always been that person who said, let's go try it, give it a try. I think from that aspect, I am open to exploring, learning. And that's something that drives me because I think that part of excitement of learning something new is phenomenal. I don't think people understand what it is. If you're just going into the routine of what has been accomplished, there's nothing new to learn, correct? So when you try something different, when you walk the path of something that has not been done, I think that is very important. So என்னோட ஃபீல்டே first they said, oh, it's networking. It's all a very male dominated field. இன்னைக்கு வரைக்கும் நாங்க எனக்கு தெரிஞ்சு நான் கான்ஷியஸா 2013 இன்னைக்கு வரைக்கும் we're trying to get more women into cybersecurity. The needle has moved only to 25%.
Oh.
2013 it was 10%. I started my career even before that. So think about how, alone I was. There was no term called cybersecurity when I started. So all of these terms were defined after that. And I learned cyber as I went along because I raised my hand for an opportunity where it meant interpreting, regulations, new tech regulations that were coming in. I am not a lawyer, but it was interpreting tech regulation into technology. I said, hey, who would want to do that? I said, I'll do it. Whether I knew it or not, that was different. But the point is I raised my hand and that gave me beautiful opportunity to where I am today, correct? Because that motivated me to go get my master's in cybersecurity. I was one of the first batches from Boston University to get the degree, but I was doing hands-on. Parallelly, I was studying, correct? So I think those are things that we can do that will emerge in a lot of time. ESG again. So ESG, people never thought that it is something that you would want to do. How does tech communicate with ESG? There is always a way for you to make that connection. You just have to think outside the box. You think of the big picture. Think of the purpose it serves. And I think that helps you to evolve and move on. And that is what I have used whenever there has been a challenge, whenever there has been a path that somebody says you cannot do it. I've chosen my own road. I've built my own path along. I don't have to follow the traditional path. And for me, it has worked. I don't know if it works for everybody, but I'm happy with that because it comes with challenges. It also tells me when I have to walk away. I have done that as well. So I have left very, very big opportunities and big roles, and I walked away because it didn't align with my value system. So that is another thing that I would say when you're doing these choices, it is important to know. You're leaving a lot of money on table. You're leaving titles on tables. People may not like you. That's fine. You should learn to live with it. One thing that I've learned is you always walk alone. All the others are just passengers on the journey. They come along, they get in, get out of your life, and you move on.
அழகான வரிகள். பேருந்துல போகும்போது நம்ம ஜன்னல்ல பார்ப்போம். எல்லாரையுமே பார்த்துட்டு அவங்கள நம்ம கூடவே வராங்களோ, அந்த நிலா மாரி அப்படின்னு நினைப்போம். ஆனா கடைசி வரைக்கும் அந்த பயணத்துல நம்ம மட்டும் தான் இருப்போம். அந்த நிலா அங்கே தான் இருக்கும் அப்படின்ற மாரி அழகான வரிகள் சொன்னீங்க சாய். ரொம்ப நன்றி. ஆனா நீங்க சொல்லும்பொழுது சொன்னீங்க, நம்ம ரிப்பல் மாரி ஒரு புரட்சியை நம்ம ஏற்படுத்தணும் அப்படின்னு சொன்னீங்க. இந்த அண்டர் ரெப்ரசன்டட் அப்படின்னு ஒரு கம்யூனிட்டி இருக்கு. ஸோ அவங்களுக்கான ஒரு ஸ்பேஸை நம்ம எப்படி கிரியேட் பண்றது? ஹவு டு யூ கிரியேட் ஸ்பேஸ் ஃபார் தி அதர்ஸ், தி எஸ்பெஷலி அண்டர் ரெப்ரசன்டட் வாய்ஸஸ் டு ஃபீல் சீன் அண்ட் ஹர்ட் இன் டெக்?
I think it has to be very intentional, Karthik. If there is a simple thing, you're in a meeting, somebody cannot speak English, for instance, their first language is not English. Instead of letting them be quiet, maybe enable them to talk, give them a voice, correct? That's one way of doing it. That's a very simple way of acknowledging them. If they are bringing out an idea, acknowledge it. Be part of that voice to support the voice. Leanins is a great forum because I've run Leanins. I used to run Leanin just here in Plano, Frisco area for quite some time. One of the first Leanins in this Metroplex area was I used to run it. And it helped people to give a voice. And it doesn't have to be always about tech. It doesn't have to be always about a particular topic. It's just allowing people to have a voice. Correct? A safe place, creating that safe place for somebody to come and see, hey, am I going through it? Are you going through it? Correct? நம்ம ரெண்டு பேர் பேசினா ஓகே எனக்கும் இந்த மாதிரி தான் இருக்கு அப்படின்னு ஒரு நம்ம சொல்லும் போது oh then I'm not alone. That feeling comes, correct? So it gives them the courage. Okay, there are two of us. Maybe we can either solve together or we can share each other's experience to know how to deal with that situation. Correct? So அந்த மாதிரி வந்து it allows you to do that. Mentorship is a great avenue, correct? Become mentors. I think that is great opportunity for people that you can do. I sit on a board for EWL. In the Angloda, it's for a forum where women who are coming back to complete their studies, and these are all women from all walks of life. Who have never had an opportunities to study, and now they're coming back to that, to that, and you're enabling them, correct? So idukku mela ungalku what more purposeful can you do? They have 2 children, they have 3 children, but the fact is they are eager to learn, and if you can be that support stick for them to enable them in that journey as a mentor, or helping them create a community where they are funded, where their voice and opportunity can be heard. Look at simple things, look at their resumes, spend time with them, allow them. It's not that we know everything, but the point is when you give back and you learn, you also learn with them, correct? If somebody is coming to me from an art, like my current mentee she's planning to become a teacher. Do I know everything about the teaching system, the school systems, and certification and becoming a teacher? No, I don't know it, but I'm happy to learn along with her so I can enable her, correct? So I think that is the beauty of when you say underrepresented communities. And some of the stories நம்ம கேட்கறதுக்கே உங்களுக்கு அவ்வளோ கஷ்டமா இருக்கும். I have had mentors, mentees who have had such they're such inspiring journeys, I would say, more than us. In many ways, we've been very fortunate. We've had an opportunity to learn. We've had great parents who, willing to spend anything on us to kind of help us learn. இவங்களுக்குலாம் அந்த opportunity இல்லை. So I think the best thing you can give them is that opportunity. Stand by them, correct? I think those are things that I would say, look for that opportunity. Connect them with people. So these are great things that we can definitely do. And these are simple things. It just takes a few intentional movements for us to do it.
அழகா சொன்னீங்க சாய்லட்சுமி. அத்துணை ஏஐ தொழில்நுட்பங்கள் வந்தாலும் அன்பும் நம்ம அரவணைப்பு மட்டும்தான் நிரந்தரம் அப்படின்றத அழகா பதிவு பண்ணியிருக்கீங்க. ரொம்ப நன்றி. ரொம்ப சீரியஸா போற இந்த நேர்காணல்ல சின்னதா ஒரு ரேபிட் ஃபயர் வச்சுக்கலாம் சில்லியா அப்படின்னு எனக்கு தோணுச்சு. உங்ககிட்ட ஒரு சட்டுன்னு ஒரு 5 கொஸ்டின் கேட்கிறேன். உங்களுக்கு தோன்றதை டக்குன்னு எனக்கு சொல்லுங்களேன். ஓகே. இப்போ கிட்டத்தட்ட 25 வருடங்களா நீங்க கணினி துறையில இருக்கீங்க. இப்போ 20 வயசுல ஒரு பெண் வராங்க இன்டர்வியூக்குன்ட்டு. பார்த்தா சாய்லட்சுமி சந்தானகிருஷ்ணன். அவங்க கிட்ட நீங்க என்ன கேட்பீங்க?
What do you want to do in life?
Okay, but will you select?
I'm sorry?
Will you select her for interview?
Of course. When I interview somebody, I don't select them for their for their academic thing. I look for their attitude. If she has the right attitude, she is selected.
அழகு. இந்த ஒரு விஷயம் இப்பவும் இருந்ததா ரொம்ப நல்லா இருக்குமே அப்படின்னு நம்ம எதிர்பார்க்கற ஒண்ணு.
Community.
ஓகே. இன்னைக்காவது ரொம்ப இட்னோண்டு சில்லறத்தனமா சைபர் செக்யூரிட்டில இன்னைக்காவது ஹேக்கிங் அந்த மாதிரிலாம் யூஸ் பண்ணி ஏதாவது நமக்கு தேவையே இல்லாத சின்ன விஷயங்கள் பண்ணிருக்கீங்களா?
பண்ணிருக்கேன். கண்டிப்பா. நான் சொல்லி கொடுக்கிறதுக்கு பண்ணிருக்கேன். So there are some very old hacks. This is that
நேயர்களுக்கு பகிர்ந்த முடியுமா?
Yeah, there are very good hacks. There is flaws in the operating systems, Unix operating systems. There was things that they were intentionally put with good healthy competition in Excel. So on the mari there is code that is written. So if you know what those code are, you can actually create noise from a cybersecurity perspective. So when I teach, I have done that with my students.
ஓகே. ஏஐ தொழில்நுட்பம் யூஸ் பண்ணி உங்களோட ரெஸ்யூமை அப்டேட் பண்ணியிருக்கீங்களா?
Yes, sometimes.
அழகு. கடைசியா ஒரே ஒரு கேள்வி. நீங்க அமேசான்ல ஒர்க் பண்ணீங்கன்னு சொன்னீங்க. இங்க நேயர்கள்ல சிறு பிள்ளைகள்லாம் இருப்பாங்க. அவங்களுக்காக கேட்கிறேன். அமேசான்ல ஒர்க் பண்ணா, அமேசான் பிரைமோ இல்ல ஃப்ரீ பேக்கேஜ் எதா கிடைக்குமா?
கண்டிப்பா கொடுக்க மாட்டாங்கங்க. There is absolutely no service. நீங்களும் you are nothing. You don't get any perks of working in Amazon when it comes to Amazon purchase retail.
ஓகே. ரொம்ப நன்றி சாய் அந்த ரேபிட் ஃபயர் கொஸ்டின்ஸ்க்கு. உங்ககிட்ட முக்கியமா நான் கேட்கணும் அப்படின்னு எதிர்பார்த்த ஒரு கேள்விகள் வந்து ரெசிலன்ஸ், தாங்கும் சக்தி. ஒரு சேலஞ்ச் வந்ததுன்னா, அதை எப்படி ஃபேஸ் பண்றது? வாட் சேலஞ்சஸ் ஹேவ் யூ ஃபேஸ்ட் இன் த டெக் இண்டஸ்ட்ரி அண்ட் ஹவ் யூ பிகேம் அவுட் ஆஃப் ஆர் யூ கேம் அவுட் ஆஃப் இட்?
ஐ திங்க் ரெசிலியன்ஸ் வந்து நம்ம எல்லாருக்கும் இருக்குங்க. இது வரைக்கும் நம்ம ரெசிலியன்ஸ் இல்லாம நம்ம இவ்வளோ தூரம் வந்து ஊரை விட்டு இருக்க முடியாது. எவ்ரிபடி ஹேஸ் த ரெசிலியன்ஸ். ஐ திங்க் how we identify that and how we take it to the next level is, and how do we use it at a point in time is what we've done. Um, எனக்கு வந்து mainly there have been many instances, but working in Wall Street was one of the tough ones, because நம்ம culturally we've been told அடக்கி வாசிக்கிறதுக்கு. We don't promote ourselves, we don't talk about our wins, we don't talk about our capabilities. So I think that is a very different shift in culture, because as most of them who are listening will know, deals are not made in the office rooms. They're made in the boardrooms, they're made in golf courses, they're made at an evening after an event at a bar. So generally that's how business happens. Correct? So நம்மளுக்கு வந்து cultural when you're not using those venues, I think promoting yourself, being there for yourself, guiding your career by yourself, I think was one of the toughest things. And it's your ability to make errors is very minimal in that circumstance. So if you're not a person of color, your opportunities are more and you're forgiven easily. But when you're especially a person of color, and on top of that you are a woman, I think it doubles. So we have to be more than 200% perfect to stand up with a voice. So that was a journey that was hard. It was a hard learned lesson for me. Especially knowing that my failures were being scrutinized at all times, whereas my successes had to be really pushed, and you needed allies to push that. Correct. So I think that is one thing you have to kind of build resilience against, because people are going to be stabbing you, people are going to be pulling you, and things like that. But the way I got over that, or I'm trying to continue to be aware and make progress, I would say, is I said to build allies. And I think the maturity of understanding that you travel alone is very important. And all said and done, you have to watch out for yourself. You have to ask what you want. You have to learn to say no. It's not about pleasing somebody, correct? And because we spoke about mental health, community, you cannot work 22 hours a day and be competent, around the clock. It's not going to happen. That's the reality of it. So learning to say no was one of the biggest things that I had to learn. The other thing was to promoting myself and telling people, hey, this is what I've done. And then raising and speaking up for myself, the voice that we were talking about. I think that is very important, being able to tell people, hey, if your decisions are based on what I'm giving you, you better respect me. And also learning to say no to trivial things, because one of the things that for a women, especially women of color, நம்ம ஸ்டார்டிங்ல சொன்னோம் வந்து, people assume that you will be like, a certain role that you will play. For example, you're in a meeting and it's male dominated. When I was working, it is highly male dominated. Wall Street was male dominated. Very lot of angry young men, and it's assumed that you would be the note taker. Why would I be the note taker? Correct.
கண்டிப்பா.
If I'm building the strategy for you to present in the boardroom, if I'm making the decisions for you to talk at the regulatory meetings, you better respect what I bring to the table. correct? So asking for that respect and being able to talk about that, it takes a lot of courage. It helps you to build your value. And then, as I said, there are times when you have to walk away, because there are times you will be tested. From resiliency perspective, there are times when I've been told, that you have to do XYZ. But if your value system does not allow it, make the call. And there will be repercussions. I can tell you that for sure. The repercussions will be there. But
கண்டிப்பா.
are you bold enough to take that repercussions and stand for it? Because that's where change happens. That's where character building happens, correct? If you don't protect your team, who will? Correct.
அழகான வரிகள். ஆமா.
So that is something that I would definitely encourage.
சிலப்பதிகார பெண்ணாய் இருந்தாலும், சிங்கப்பெண்ணாய் இருந்தாலும், அந்த புரட்சி நம்மிலிருந்து தொடங்க வேண்டும் அப்படின்னு சொல்லியிருக்கீங்க. ரொம்ப அழகான வரிகள். இப்போ உழைப்புலேருந்து வர்ற பயணம் இருக்குல்ல, அது வெற்றியை நோக்கி தான். ஆனா எல்லா உழைப்புமே வெற்றியில தான் முடியணுமா? வெற்றினா உங்கள பொறுத்தவரைக்கும் என்ன? வாட் இஸ் சக்சஸ் டு யூ?
I think success is again a journey for me. It's a point in time, correct? There is no definition. For me, it is not about the title, it's not about the money that I make, but it's about the people that I impact and who I bring along with me along my journey. So I think over the years, initially, when the self-independence was my success. Next was being good at what I did and being committed to the opportunities that were given and doing it right to its fullest. But over the years, now that I have learned certain hard lessons and experiences, எனக்கு அப்புறம் வரவங்களுக்கு how can I open a door for them, correct? அவங்களுக்கு how can I make their life a little better than what it was for them? If there is a way I can do that, I think that is true success for me. And examples of that would be, I can give you, like, I had a reporting me a person who is of a single dad, and him coming and telling me, Sai, thanks for being there for me and listening to my stories, being asking me how is my day. I think these are small joys of life. If I could brighten that person's day that day, I think that's success in a Puerto Rico. And every time I see my children, not my own children, the kids that I mentor, the kids that I work with, successful, I think that's beautiful for me. And I can go on. I'm so proud of all the people that I've mentored, and I can tell you the beautiful journey each one of them have had. And I'm extremely proud of their success, and that makes me successful too.
அழகான வரிகள் சாய். நன்றி. கடைசியா ஒரே ஒரு கேள்வி. அடுத்த தலைமுறை பெண்களுக்கும், இளைஞர்களுக்கும் வெற்றி பெறுவதற்கும், வாழ்க்கையை சரியாக நடத்துவதற்கும் உங்களுக்கு ஒரே ஒரு டிப்ஸ் கொடுக்கணும் அப்படின்னா என்ன கொடுப்பீங்க நீங்க?
Just live your life. Be you. You're special. And just be yourself.
Live and let live. அழகான வரிகள். நன்றி சாய். இவ்வளவு பணிகளுக்கு மத்தியில எங்களுக்காக நேரம் ஒதுக்கி இவ்வளவு சுவாரஸ்யமான விஷயங்களை பகிர்ந்திருக்கீங்க. ரொம்ப நன்றி. மீண்டும் ஒரு நேர்காணல நம்ம அழகா சந்திப்போம். அது வரைக்கும் நன்றி சாய் லட்சுமி சந்தானகிருஷ்ணன் அவர்கள்.
ரொம்ப நன்றிங்க for bringing me to this program.
கண்டிப்பா. நன்றி, வணக்கம். நேயர்களே, டாலஸ் பிரபலங்கள் நிகழ்ச்சியில இன்னைக்கு நிறைய விஷயங்களை உங்ககிட்ட நம்ம கேட்டு தெரிஞ்சுக்கிட்டோம் இல்லையா? இதே மாதிரி அடுத்த ஒரு நிகழ்ச்சியில நம்ம மீண்டும் சந்திப்போம். அதுவரை உங்களிடமிருந்து விடைபெறுவது உங்கள் அமர்தன். நன்றி, வணக்கம்.